Oh, here we go. This is a little bit of a tricky bit. Shoot, there we go. Whoa, BSA. You know, look at this. Right, welcome back to the channel, everyone. So today we come out to Wales. It's obviously my favourite place to come. We've got to go from the Midlands about an hour, and then you get, or maybe an hour and a half, and you get actually into Wales proper. I've come up on a little bit of a track, a little bit of an off-road, well, for me it's kind of off-road track to get up into these hills. It's really, really good actually, because there's no one up here for miles, so you don't have that awkward scene where people are walking in front of the camera or distracting you or whatever. And it's just quite serene. It's just very peaceful out here. So in this video I'm going to do some updates. Way back in February when I was in Ibiza, we talked about a conversion, as kind of scramblerization of the BSA, and I've gone down that path a little bit, and I want to say this isn't really my vision for a scrambler. It's more of a World War II bike. So there have been a few scrambler conversions popping up here, there and everywhere, and to be honest they're quite extreme, because not only is there knobbly tyres, high bars, but they usually chop the rear mudguard off the bike, and they usually replace the front mudguard here with something like really high up. And I didn't really want to do that. I didn't want to do a full scrambler conversion. I just wanted to make a kind of World War II bike that looked like it could go off-road a little bit, but still with the standard mudguards front and rear. So we're not going to call this a scrambler conversion. We're going to call it Sean's World War II bike. Obviously I could go even further and do an army paint job and blah blah blah, all that stuff, but I kind of like it the way it is. So I'll tell you what I've done to the bike so far to get it to this stage. I've put the most obvious thing on there, which is the kind of semi-knobbly tyres on there. They're Bridgestone Batax Adventure Cross AX41. Basically, I don't know anything about tyres, but they were the tyres that fitted on the bike with the standard sizes. Apparently you can go a little bit higher on the width, 10 mil here or there on the width. I didn't really want to do that because I was a little bit, I just thought, don't like tempt fate, just stick to the stock sizes for the tyres. So we did stock sizes. They're one of the few tyres you can get with an 18-inch on the front, and obviously there's quite a lot more for the 17 on the rear. They are quite aggressive. So Two-Wheeled Willie asked me, he said, oh, what's it like, you have to let me know, what's it like to ride this bike on the road with these tyres? To be honest, like, I'm not going to pretend it isn't. It is a little bit wafty in the bends. It's sort of not as bad as TKC 80s, which actually will, you know, you'll sort of slip on them and as they go onto the corner. They're not as bad as that, but they are very kind of light, wafty. There is also a whine, but I've decatted this bike anyway, and if I wear earplugs I don't hear the whine. Handling obviously is nowhere near as good as if you had proper road tyres on. That said, because I had the Pirellis on before, they were just horrible, and so I feel like I've got as much confidence in my new tyres on the road as I did in my old tyres. Not to say if I'd gone for some Avon Road Riders or perhaps some Continental, whatever the retro ones of that type is, I would have got a bike that handled good on the road. But I didn't really want that. I wanted something that looks a little bit different, and we went back and forth on how it would change the look of the bike. Is the bike dramatically different looking? It kind of is. Doesn't really look like a retro, out and out, harking back, what do they call it, authentic to the old Goldstar. It now looks a little bit different. I kind of like the purposeful, like muscular look. I think it looks really cool. But I also wanted the ability to come up places like this. Like, look around you. You couldn't get up here without these tyres, because I've had to come through mud and rocks and forests and stuff. And this 650 lump, it just chug, chug, chug. It's got that low down torque. You can just power your way up these rocky trails. Now, of course, I don't have the suspension for it at the front. I don't have the ground clearance for it underneath. I've got electronics down there about 6 inches off the ground, so I don't have any fording ability because it'd probably fry the bike. So really, it's quite limited as an off-road type of bike. But for me, on a nice day like this, I've been able to come somewhere I've never seen before, come up to this field. There's literally nobody up here. That's why my presentation is flowing, so I'm not getting put off by people, I'm not getting embarrassed. and so it makes the bike, and for me, a lot more accessible. Obviously, I'm still keeping the standard silencer. That's actually still the crash damage silencer. So we're keeping that stock. I'm not doing like an upswept silencer or anything. It's all going to be World War II bike and not a full-on Scrambler conversion with a new seat and all this, you know, gubbins. So the tyres are the first thing. The second thing, which I'll probably just turn the bike towards you so you can have a look at it. We've done a little bit of a headlight guard conversion, and I'd wanted to do this for a while. Oh, I'm not going to be in focus if I move too much back and forth. I wanted to do it for a while, and for me, it was all about having the clean look. I didn't want those little legs either side holding the thing on, and there's nothing available for the BSA Goldstar. And if you were to have something fitted on here, it would just, you might be able to get away with it, but I just feel it would look a bit crap. I know Two Wheeled Willie, he fitted one to his T120 Black, and it looked good, but he wasn't happy with it. I think because that was a flat-faced one, it didn't curve with the headlight. Even if you do get one that curves with the headlight, you've got these little legs sticking out, and I just thought, I'm going to try something a little bit better than that. So this is homegrown effort. I used my old ring that was crash damaged. Do you remember the crash, everybody? Well, I used the old ring, sanded it, painted it, made it look better, and then I used little bits of copper wire to attach basically a floating front grille onto the headlight. Now, interestingly, the headlight is also different because the BSA standard headlight bulges out a lot, and so that gives it a bit of it's a difficult fitment to put a guard over the top. So I've gone for an LED. I mean, it doesn't look authentically retro having an LED in a normal bike, but I was thinking the guard actually hides it a little bit. So you've got high beam, low beam, there's a daytime running light, and you can also, which I haven't done yet, but configure it to flash orange when the indicator's flashing. Which is actually quite clever, isn't it? Because that's a safety feature. Like if I'm riding along, a car driver is not only going to see these quite small indicators, but also that flashing orange. So I thought that's quite clever. Now I need to figure out how to wire that up. I need to take a signal or a positive 12 volt when the indicator's flashing. So just check no horsefly lands on me because I'm scared of those. So I need to work out how to get that set up, but as it is, just with the high and low beam, I'm kind of happy with it. It'll be a little bit more effort to get the daytime running light, and then when I find out how to wire to an indicator signal, then that'll be like the kind of full functionality of the headlight. It's also better because it's lighter, it's more crash damage resistant. It's obviously plastic, which I know people don't like because it fades over time. But the unit was only £13.35 from eBay, and it's got all those functions in it. It is plastic, yeah, as I said. It's light as well, and it's not very deep either. And that's kind of cool because if you've ever removed a Goldstar headlight, you'll know that there's loads of wires crammed into the headlight bowl. So it's actually really annoying because whenever you take a headlight out to service something or other, you can't get it back in because they've crammed too many wires in there. So because this thing is really shallow, it's now easy to take the headlight in and out. You might ask, well, why would you do that? Obviously, I do plan on fitting heated grips, and I need to use the switch 12 volt live inside the headlight bowl to have a neat install. So that'll be part of my plan going forward, really, try and get that looking good. A couple of other things that we've done. So I talked about the tyres, which are the main thing, and also the chrome guard. But what about this? Remember when we had the decap pipe fitted in Mallorca, couldn't get the RNG guards go back on. So when I was away, I ordered back to my UK address some 45 millimeter by 25 millimeter diameter aluminium spacers. You can buy them on eBay. Every particular type of spacer is available, and that just pushes the plastic bung or polyurethane, whatever it's called, pushes it out past the decap pipe, which is really cool because now I can have the decap pipe and some serious crash protection on the bike. And if I'm going to be coming off road a little bit, then that's kind of a no-brainer, really. It looks quite cool. I like the fact we've done it. I did order a couple of extra long bolts because the standard bolts were 65 millimeters. And then if you have a 45 millimeter, 45 plus 65 is 110. So I had to buy 110 bolts because it was 65 plus the additional distance that was needed. Of course, I went on eBay, Bolt World, whatever, ordered them, and the thread was different to the RNG, this kind of mounting thing here. So I was a bit annoyed about that. So I thought, right, you know what? I'll ring RNG up. Rang up RNG, and this is a little lesson for everyone. If you ever get stuck, don't be afraid to go back to the original manufacturer, the big company. I was literally on the phone to RNG, having a little chat with this guy, and he was like, oh, we'll get you sorted, but he's just like really down to earth. And so he, free of charge, sent 210 millimeter bolts, M10s, with the correct pitch to go in there, off another kit for like a different bike or whatever. And so now I've got 110 millimeter bolt, 45 millimeter spacer, and Bob's your uncle. I think in a crash, even if you didn't need to clear the downpipe, it would probably benefit you to have that crash protection sticking further out, because obviously if the bike goes down, it offers a little bit more protection to side elements of the bike. Now obviously I could probably do with some protection on the exhaust. I could fit the new silencer and then add some protection to it, and then, you know, I'm pretty much scuppered if the brake lever or the foot peg, that's going to get broken basically if you go down, particularly the brake lever. So what else could I do to the bike? I am thinking a little bit about a Scrambler style handlebar, just for the look really. I just want that cross piece to just set it off. I mean, I'm going to come out of focus just so we can look at the bike together. Yeah, I think that would really set it off, having that. The other thing which I could do is change the rear shocks, but everyone knows they're put on the softest setting, and I'm like not really into my handling. We can tell by the tyres. I don't really care if this bike goes around corners fast. It's a bit of a potterer's bike. I plod about. But the thing I might change is I might change the fork springs. So I've got a Scrambler handlebar conversion and fork springs maybe to do. But as far as where the bike is now, I don't really need to do anything. I'm happy with it. It's really, really cool. It's my take on the BSA Goldstar. And to be honest, it's not really worth a lot anymore. I mean, you guys know that I posted just to say that the BSA Highland Green Goldstar is now $4,999 plus on the road. So obviously that hits the resale value of bikes like mine. Mine's also on 2,100 miles now. It's a little bit different with the tires and stuff. So my bike isn't really worth a lot. I was jokingly saying in the comments that we could swap my bike for a crash damaged Meteor 350 and half a Mars bar his way. And it's kind of true. I mean, I think this bike's probably worth $3,000 now. Maybe 3.5 if I was to trade it in. So really, it's not worth selling the bike anymore. It is what it is. There are cool, oh, I don't want to be bitten. There's a few bikes coming out that I kind of like. Oh shit, that was a horsefly. Jokes aside, that actually was a horsefly, and they can bite you through your clothes. So, gosh, that put the wind up me. Right, other things that you've noticed here, I've got a couple of luggage options. These were off the Vosges. I ordered them from AliExpress. They just go well nicely with the rack there, and they're a bit modern looking, but I have tried to reduce that. I've got a heat gun and just blipped off the white stickers, and it's left with some glue residue there, which still shows the logo and branding, but it's better than it was before. I don't really want carbon fiber and white. It don't really fit the theme. And then the other thing I've got going here is the BSA Holdall, which again I was going back and forth on because it's not actually that useful. I was thinking, shall I just get rid of it? But today it's proved its use. It looks quite cool. I guess it goes with the Scrambler aesthetic. You guys let me know what you think in the comments, whether I should keep this thing or try and sell it. It also can be mounted with no visible straps, which makes a big difference. Just wanted to say thanks to Mr. Darcy and the Old Man, because a few weeks ago we actually got a mention. This little channel got a mention by the Old Man on theirs, and he was saying that like we actually talk some sense. How amazing is that? Mr. Darcy said, oh sorry, not Darcy, it was the Old Man. He actually just name dropped our channel, which that's a big deal for kind of Susan and I. So thank you very much, really appreciate that.
Alright, we don't disturb these little lambs, hopefully they just slowly... That's it. Hey lambs! Oh, look at this little one. Oh, that's it, get back to the flock. Oh, sorry to scare you. Let's give it a go. Now, I'm not an off-road rider by any stretch of the imagination. But I do feel more confident having these tyres. Be careful because these lambs up here again. I'm going really slowly. That's it, go off the road. Now you might be witnessing the moment before I fall off this bike. These tracks don't look like anything, but if you get stuck in a rut, you can hear stones flying up and hitting the crash guard. Right, over we go. Now downhill, so rear brake. Oh, here we go. This is a little bit of a tricky bit. Shoot, there we go. Whoa! BSA! You know, look at this. Oh. That's it. These tyres are doing really well.